Welcome to I May Be Wrong.
I don't know what this world is coming to,
but I don't think so. We're broadcasting from the greater Nashville area, the home of country music, beyond the borders of political correctness and identity politics. Facts and faith are our demarcations. Truth lights our path.
Here's the Barry White of Podcast Radio,
the venerable Alphonso Ashworth.
Well, welcome to the inaugural broadcast of I May Be Wrong, but I don't think so. Of course, we are working out our little kinks. If you just heard my bumper, I hope you like it. Let me know what you think. Of course, you can also see that we have a feature on the page where we're doing captioning. Closed captioning. So if for you that are hearing impaired, we want to make sure that you get an opportunity as well. And of course, I see that the chat room is already happening. I want to thank them. I want to welcome them to the chat room. I see that Miss Akita Dukes Mosby is there. Ari, Dawn, of course, others that are in the chat room. Real RG, Nafratiti is in the chat room as well. And we're hoping to get some responses from you. This show, let me tell you, this show is not about personalities. It's not about just an individual. It's about what is right and what is wrong, what is truth and what is not. Of course, our little tag is shielded by, of course, faith and armed with facts. And facts, the economy is doing great. And it's not just me saying it. It's others that are saying this as well. What about BET, Bob Johnson, what he has to say about it? Let's see what Mr. Johnson had to say. Of course, he's also someone that is talking about the listen.
This morning, RLJ Company's founder and chairman, BET founder, Bob Johnson, media visionary, private equity god. You're iconic. I don't know what you want to talk about today, but there's the economic backdrop. I want to get your viewpoint because you have so many businesses and how things are going. But I want to get your comments on the political environment as well and how it relates to the economic environment. How's business?
Business is very good. I believe that if you take into account the Trump tax cut, you take into account the drop in unemployment, and particularly unemployment for African Americans, it's the lowest it's ever been in history. And you take into account the fact that interest rates are fairly stable. No, they will probably drift up, but so far. And I think the business community is committed to reinvest capital that they get from some of the tax advantages. And that as a result of that, I think the economy is going to grow. It's not going to do 5, as I think Larry Kudlow suggested it could do.
Fact. It's not just me saying it. It's others that are saying it. Fact. As a surprise, now I've been holding this under my hat for a while. As a surprise, there's another fact. I've got someone on the phone line that is someone that's very well versed in these topics. Not only that, I call him a brother. Welcome to the show, brother Lonnie Poindexter.
Hello, my fellow lion chaser out there, man. I am honored and truly humbled to be the first guest on your new show, man.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
I'm just truly excited to be a part of the new show, and I know we're going to be slaying many dragons out there, professing truth, and letting the the naysayers say what they say. Amen.
Yes, sir. Hey, Lonnie, quickly, because this is only a 30-minute show, I may expand it later, and of course, I know the people in the chat room want to hear from you. What are you up to? What's going on? Tell us what's happening and inform us what's going to be happening that is so exciting for you in the future.
Oh, boy, where do I start? Oh, hold on a second here. Let me make sure you guys hear me okay. There we go. How's that? Is that better?
Yes, sir.
There we go. Where do I start? Well, let's start with Lion Chasers. I'm going to first of all thank any and all of your listeners out there that were followers of the show over the last several years. I was thinking back to my inception in radio. Started with Star Parker's program back in 2013, Curing America with Star Parker. and then on to the Freedom's Journal Institute, then getting my own show. And I've got what's almost close to 7 years invested in doing radio. And I got to tell you, I truly enjoyed the ride, and it's part and parcel to the listenership out there across this great nation who kept you and I on our toes, right, and kept us laughing as well. But new things, starting on this weekend, and it'll be this Saturday at 8:35 p.m. Central. 8:35 p.m. Central will be the launch or the relaunch of Lion Chasers, but now on American Family Radio. So it'll be on American Family Radio, starts at 8:35 p.m. It'll be an evening show, so when you're out and about and doing what you're doing on a Saturday and so forth, you can tune in. You can use an app to listen to the show, just like you did when I was on Urban. Listen to it right from your cell phone. And then in addition to that, I also will be hosting television shows with GLC TV out of Southwest Texas. So that starts the end of this month, July 29th. So exciting times. I'm very excited about the future.
You know, Lonnie, it's amazing what has transpired in the last 4+ years, especially with me being on your show as a guest host. And look, by the way, if you need a guest host for that evening or whatnot, if I'm available, you know I'd be glad to do it. And I owe you and the network a great deal of gratitude because of the experience that I was able to get. And of course, I want you to know that anytime that you want to come on, I may be wrong, but I don't think so. You're more than welcome to do so. You just have to give me a call or give me a text. Let me know what's happening. And the chat room is already chiming in. They're enjoying you. I think it sort of surprised them that we're doing this because, one, I didn't know if we would do call in or call or whatnot. And some of the other features that we've added is closed captioning, because I had some people that are hearing impaired that wanted to know, hey, can you do closed captioning? So last night, Lonnie, I was up trying to figure out how to do closed captioning, and it works. I mean, it does very well. And but, of course, you say you're going to get into television, and you're doing the new show. You got the new program going. Let me ask you something. How is, because I played a clip earlier about the economy from BET, Bob Johnson's point of view, and he's giving Trump lots of kudos. It's not great for everybody, but from your point of view, how is the economy going compared to, say, during the last administration?
Well, everything that I'm hearing from across this great nation is the economy is booming. I'll just use Washington, D.C. as a for instance. As I look out across the cityscape, you see construction cranes everywhere. Real estate is booming. Folks are at work. It's a great time. If I can remember correctly, one of the president's campaign promises is when they were throwing considerable rocks at him and the previous administration in particular, and asked if he'd have a magic wand. Well, he apparently has a magic wand. It's the size of a baseball bat, because he is hitting it out the park with what's taking place across this great nation. And you're going to see it reflected in the elections in 2020. You're going to see that there. You're going to see a continual move of the needle as folks who happen to have a darker paying job like you and I cross the aisle. And I'm not saying they're necessarily going to become Republican, but they're certainly reconsidering their wholehearted stance and walking with the Democrat Party.
Of course, the Democrats are out in full force. They're out making wild accusations. They're making claims that are impossible to reach. Reparations, all this, what they're going to give away, free college. They're going to, fix, they're going to take everybody to the moon for Disneyland rides. I mean, you name it, brother. They're promising it. How do you see this shaping up in the future? What's going to happen? How is this going to pan out?
Brother, you and I have talked about this before. Let me first point out that they're even saying they're going to cure cancer, one of the candidates.
Yeah, he's going to cure cancer when he gets in.
I think the most jaded liberal has to take a pause and consider all of this now. And we know that every 4 years these things drum up. It's just in a new and improved way they're doing it this time. All this free stuff. And common sense people know that how are we supposed to pay for this free stuff? And I don't think people are going to fall for it. You're going to get the uninitiated, those that are ignorant as to political worldview, or even common sense for that matter. But I don't think it's going to resonate with the millennials that they're going after, or this Generation Y, I think they call them, or X. And it's certainly not going to resonate, I think, with just your average citizen across the country.
Well, I'm going to put you on the spot. Of the candidates for the Democratic Party, which candidate has the best chance of defeating President Trump?
Ooh, now that's a hard one. I don't think any of them have a shot. I think that Biden, I mean, his own previous administration that he was a part of will not endorse him. At least President Obama, nor his wife Michelle, or anybody associated with the Obama administration has come out as endorsing him. So they don't have a high degree of confidence in him vetting. Really interesting that President Trump immediately came out and endorsed Vice President Pence as his running mate for the next thing. Who I think is going to vet and they'll present, and about a month ago I didn't see this, is Kamala Harris.
Okay.
Because she fits the their narrative. She's a woman. She's professing to be black now, although her dad would say otherwise. If you look at her background, which
right.
She's Jamaican and Indian, and but I think that she's going to vet because she checks the boxes for them. But she's got a lot of baggage, and it's already coming out now. And there'll be more, I'm sure, that comes out. I'm from the state of California, and we remember back when she was Willie Brown's side chick. So I don't know how she's going to navigate all that, but I think that's who they're going to probably pick.
Well, in general, they don't really care about the baggage. They're so determined to defeat Trump. They don't care who they run as long as the media gets behind that person and pushes the narrative.
Very true.
And this is the reason I started, I may be wrong, but I don't think so, is to fight that Goliath. I have had some people ask me, why are you doing this? Well, I want to fight the Goliath. I want to fight the monster. I'm not going to sit on the sideline and wait for this country to just circle the bowl. And of course, if we can do something about it, we should. And of course, you said something about television. Now, I'm not sure about this, Lonnie, but let me know. Let me tell the audience, how did you decide? What made you decide that television was a great format or a good format for you?
Oh, brother, that's a great question. I can take no credit whatsoever. Just like I can't take credit for becoming a national radio host. It was God and He alone that opened doors. And I was just, who me? Oh, okay, Lord, you get my attention. But about a year ago, I was approached by the general manager of GLC TV, which is out of Odessa, Midland, Texas area, Odessa, Texas. And based on a conversation that a Reverend M.L. Johnson, I hope Reverend M.L. is listening to your show today, because I know he was a follower of Lion Chasers,
yes.
A big fan of yours, personally, who said, hey, Lonnie, I am hosting a new show called The Eliza Project on GLC TV. And GLC TV, folks, if you just Google God's Learning Channel, they'll come right up. And they're on 5 television stations in Southwest Texas and on 2 satellite networks. So you can pick them up over the internet, and you can also pick them up if you happen to be within the coverage of those 2 satellite networks. And their names escape me at this time, but they're on 5 towers in Southwest Texas. And they approached me. He approached me about coming on his show, and I said, sure, brother. So I went down to Texas and taped. I thought one show, ended up doing several shows. And so the general manager took a liking to, I guess I didn't, pick my nose or anything else while I was on air, but approached me about coming back. So about a month and a half ago,
I went down, I taped, must have been 12, 13 shows. So I'll be going back down the end of this month to tape additional shows, and we've got some phenomenal guests scheduled to come on that show, and it's going to be a wonderful time. Previous guests that I've interviewed that you catch if you go to God's Learning Channel is Dr. Alveda King, Professor William McDonald from Oral Roberts University, Pastor Mark Little from Faithful Central Church out in Los Angeles, California, and many other prominent folks in the Christian community, lion chasers as I call them.
Yes, and of course, it all started with the network of Urban Family and American Family, and I give kudos to Will and Miki. I want to give them shout-outs because they do such a wonderful job guiding that network, and of course, now it's moved up a level. Now you're on American Family, you're up a notch. And of course, a lot of people don't realize what that means in the big scheme of things. Can you enlighten the audience in terms of how did you go from doing 5 days a week, 2 hours a day, to really the evening program, but how that means that you're actually advancing? What does that mean?
Thank you, brother. Great question. Yeah, kudos to Will and Miki Addison for the vision they had for Urban Family. If it had not been for Will's vision, this would have never come to pass, and I never would have discovered my calling. But what took place is we went from a network exposure from a radio standpoint. We were on up to 10 stations across the country. Might be a little bit more than that because Stacey Washington had some additional shows she broadcasted, but primarily it was about 6 to 8. And then I had 2 I did out of New York in addition to those 8. But now, going into AFR's primary network, we're on 181 radio stations across the country.
That's God. See, when God closes one door, he opens another door. And God has increased your territory, brother. And I'm very, very happy for that because you've worked very hard. And I think Will and Miki are being rewarded as well, and along with some of the other people in the network. But we hope and pray that, of course, that will mean greater things and for you and for the network and for your future, because I know that, of course, living in D.C. is not easy, and that's your home base. Tell us what's going on in D.C., what's happening, because we know the hearings are coming up next week. What's the buzz? What's the buzz in D.C. right now, Lonnie?
Well, the swamp is the swamp, and it's aptly named the swamp. The president giving Washington, D.C. that moniker is so fitting because historically Washington, D.C. was built on marshland, so it was built on a swamp, literally. But what's taking place is most recently what took place here is, the 4th of July celebrations that the president hosted, and we had some of the media actually boycott covering the events. That's the first time I've ever seen that in history, is when major networks just say, we're not, like MSNBC, we're not going to cover the happenings. Let me just share with all your listeners out there. I was here. This city was jam-packed. You could hardly get a hotel room. If you saw the pictures of the National Mall, that people went literally from the Capitol steps all the way back to the Washington Monument. And typically they said if you had that many people in that area going all the way back to the Washington Monument, that represents 1 million plus people. So if you looked at the media, I think CNN said there was a few thousand. Don't be bamboozled by mainstream media, as I said on my show, Lion Chasers, because they will mislead you. And the truth is, it was a record turnout and a true excitement to see the parade. And by the way, the folks that were out there complaining, saying that he's militarizing America by having tanks roll down the street like we're some kind of banana republic. And, citizens who know what's going on sent me all types of photographs historically of previous administrations that did the same thing.
Yeah, Kennedy did it.
JFK, that's right.
Matter of fact, they tore up Pennsylvania Avenue, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. That was a concern this year, so they had special things they had put underneath the tracks and what have you, so that would not take place when they pulled them off those haulers. It's America. It's true. Now, here's the deal. And let me just state this, and I know you know this, and I'm sure your listeners are probably familiar with this as well. There is it's not his ego. It's not him doing that because he's president, that he wants to have these go down the street because it can be all about him. He's sending a message to the banana republics out there in the world who want to see America fall, like North Korea, like Iran, like Syria and the rest of those nations, like China. When they understand the might, and my dad taught me this, and you got me on one, forgive me, brother.
Go ahead, brother.
Everything that you need to learn, you pretty much learn on the playground. And he taught me that, he says, when you're dealing with a bully, you cannot reason with a bully, you can't negotiate with a bully. You can't run from a bully. If you do, you do it, and eventually he's going to catch up with you, he and his entourage. What you do when you finally get mano a mano with a bully, and he's got his entourage behind him, he said, you take and you ball up your fists and you swing as hard as you can and you bust him right in the nose.
Exactly.
He said, when you do that, he says, you might lose the fight because he's bigger and stronger than you. He says, but he'll respect you and he'll leave you alone. And that's what this president is doing. He's making sure these other nations respect America.
And Lonnie, not to get too much into it because, of course, I've got a lot that I'm going to be talking about on the show, a lot of new things that I want to bring to the program. And, of course, it's probably a surprise to some that we're able to even carry on this conversation. But technology has made it so easy.
Amazing.
Especially for people who like setting up late at night, not like myself, and fooling with this stuff. But
we're both night owls.
Yes, but with that, they say, well, how are you going to be on your TV program and be in D.C.? Well, you just said it. You go, you tape shows, and they play them later. So that way you can go back and forth on the executive airplane, of course. And
my choice of Southwest Airlines.
that. Hey, look, that's better than me. Because my style. If I can't drive it, it's going to be hard to get me there.
That's true. You would drive all the way to Southwest Texas.
Yes, I would. I'm telling you, brother. I would drive to Southwest Texas, do the shows, and turn around and go back home. That's just me. But, of course, I know that you got a lot on your plate, and I really want to thank you. And, when I asked you, I knew that you would. And, of course, I didn't know if the technology would work like it's supposed to, but I really do appreciate you taking the time to come on the show. I'm going to give you the final words on this before I let you go.
Well, brother, again, thank you for having me be on your inaugural show. It's an honor, and truly it's blessed me tremendously. I hope the listeners out there enjoyed it. It's going to be a lot more of this, and just want you to know you're on the short list. Those being invited out to Texas for the tapings of the Light of the Southwest and the Elijah Project, and some new shows that will be coming up with GLC TV, because we've got some exciting program changes taking place. In addition to that, I'm looking forward to getting you on to Lion Chasers, because it not would be Lion Chasers if I don't have Brother Al Ashworth on Lion Chasers, which, ladies and gentlemen, again, that's Saturday evenings at 8:35 p.m. on American Family Radio. God bless you, brother. Thank you.
God bless you too, sir. Of course, that was the voice of Lion Chasers, Lonnie Poindexter. Of course, this is a 30-minute show, so let me tell you, the listeners, this is what we need to do. One, I need you to donate. The show needs your support. This is a listener-supported program. And this is one of the reasons that the conservative, especially the conservative Christian movement, is not being heard, is because mainstream media has closed the door. As you just heard, and I've been listening, a lot of people are being shut down because they're having to go through these networks. Well, I decided to go around the networks and do my own thing. And we need your support. So go to the website, go to go to I May Be Wrong, But I Don't Think So. Yes, I May Be Wrong, But I Don't Think So.com. You'll see the nice little button up there that says donate. And by the way, you can also get the T-shirts. You can get your choice of 3 colors, I think. We think we're going to add a 4th color. 4 different sizes, and we can ship that right to you, and also get your beverage mug, your coffee mug, and it'll have I May Be Wrong, But I Don't Think So, and that will help one, help the program and help the program grow, and give us some shout outs to those in the chat room. I see Paula's in the chat room, Akita's in the chat room, Dawn is in the chat room, AT is in the chat room. AT is the computer. He's having technical issues, but he's going to get on later. Pastor Carl Edis Mitchell III, my brother, is in the chat room. We've had a good conversation recently with brother Pastor Carl, and I hope that things pan out well for his ventures. And of course, we have to come together. We have to come together, and we have to continue to do this on a level that will surprise the mainstream media. Of course, I may be wrong, but I don't think so. It's a tagline that I've used, and a book is coming, by the way. We are working on the book. The book, I'm hoping, will be out in 2020, before the election cycle kicks in high gear. By that time, we'll probably know who the Democratic candidate is and who's going to be possibly running against President Trump. But that's going to be exciting as well. I see that Real RG says, love the show, Al. Great job. I see that he's in our other chat room. We got 3 or 4 chat rooms going. If you want to get more involved in the chat rooms, let me know, and I'll hook you up. You can also subscribe to the website, or I may be wrong, but I don't think so. Go to imaybewrongbutidon'tthinkso.com. Look on the page, and you'll see subscribe, and you can subscribe to the show. This way, you'll get all the latest update of what's happening on the program. Trust me, we're going to have a lot of content. There's a lot of content out there. Elizabeth Warren with Medicare for All. Bernie Sanders, Medicare for All. What about the fight between Nancy Pelosi and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez? That battle is happening. Of course, the indoctrination in our school systems. Look, I have audio clips of teachers that are indoctrinating our children in the classroom. And the children understand, and some of these children are taking action, and they're actually recording these conversations. And I've got one that will just blow you away. That's what we're going to be talking about, of course, next show. And every Wednesday at 10 a.m., you can catch me here, and I may be wrong, but I don't think so. If you missed the show live, don't fret. We do have an archive on the show and on the website, and we'll be re-airing this also on YouTube, so that you can see some of the captions, because we do have closed caption features. I hope that's working. If somebody gives me a thumbs up on that in the chat room about the closed caption feature, and let me know if they're seeing that well on the website. And look, this is some great things we got coming up ahead of what's happening. Look, we live in some perilous times. The LGBT community, they're out there. The anti-God community, they're out there. The anti-American people stomping on our flag, burning the flag, they're out there. The Antifa, they're out there. So what are you going to do as an American, as a patriot, as a Christian, or as someone who just loves the Constitution? What are you going to do? Are you going to sit on the sideline and wait for Jesus to come with your bags packed? Are you going to join in with me and other people like me and keep us on the air? Look, airtime is not free. This stuff that they're telling kids about free college, free is not free. So I want to thank you for chiming in. And of course, until the next show, until the next time, I just want to tell you I love you. God bless you. God bless America. Peace.
You've been listening to Alphonso Ashworth, the Barry White of Podcast Radio. Go forth and share his message. I may be wrong, but I don't think so. Remember, no two people can ever occupy the same place at the same time. You were uniquely and wonderfully made. Born an original. Don't die a copy. God bless. Peace.